I'll just explain to you what's going on here, and I'll let the cat out of the bag before, there's the cat, I'll let the cat out of the bag before I finish it so that you know what's going on. In this area here, I'm building or constructing a clay mine. Now, as I've explained before, in other holes that I've dug, the topsoil here, the black soil, well, it's black because it's wet, usually it's grey, goes down to about the depth of my shovel. Which I'm getting close, and what's underneath all of this soil is clay, nice thick yellow khaki brown gooey clay, and I kind of want to unearth that clay and start to use it around the property for bricks and little wells and all sorts of stuff. The clay is very useful. And I've got the perfect grass here that grows, that's almost as thick as straw, that I can mix with the clay to bind it together. And the sand, well, the soil here is already sandy loam, so there's plenty of sand. And I've also got a sand pit down the back there, which is river sand, that's actually been dumped there, a whole truckload. Most of it's gone, but there's, you know, once again, probably that depth of nice white sand that I can use in my, you know, rendering with the clay. And I've got a process now. On a previous video I probably showed you how I process the clay, get it all sloppy, and then just let the water evaporate away from the clay and leave it sticky, and mix it with straw, and leave that for a few days, and by the time you come to work with it, it's brilliant, and it's holding together really well. I'll show you. But as I was digging here, I came across this sticking out of the ground. And now that I've got water on it, it just came away. So I was imagining that it would be a complete automobile or something like that down there, which is stupid because it wouldn't be. So yeah, just a bit of iron, a twist in it there, so I'd say it was a gate, a hole at the end there, so that would have been a fastener. I also found this piece of artifact. I have no idea what that is. Possibly a belt buckle, not sure. Am I kidding? So yeah, I'm unearthing a few little pieces of iron, and I guess what springs to mind is the idea that I should get myself a metal detector and go over this whole property, because you never know what's been buried here. I wouldn't imagine it's very much. There was certainly no graves here, that there wasn't that kind of church. And you know, people don't generally dig up church grounds and bury stuff made of metal, you know. But in this case they did. So I'd say we've got the makings of a gate down there. So what I'm going to do with my animals is, look how easy that is to dig. Just keep going down until I strike clay, and we'll see the colour change. Like that. show you. Off a bit. There's your clay right there. This colour, that's your clay. So I'm pretty right. I have dug down a spade head width into the ground, which is about 350, and come across clay. So now I have to do it all across that whole, 4 square metres that I've set aside for this little mine, and I need to prop up the sides somehow to stop them collapsing, or else bevel them. That's what you do. My dog just knocked the tripod over. Funny boy. The other thing about this area that I'm digging is that there's a lot of gravel in it, and I'll show you that later. Which makes me think that this little square here has been dug out quite deep sometime in the past to bury something. It's alright, I'm not suspecting a corpse or anything like that. Just why would you dig a hole this big and bury something and then fill it in with foreign material, which is gravel? I don't know. So I'm going to concentrate on this area here, and look how easy that's coming away. So easy. We had 40 millimetres, maybe 50 millimetres of rain in the last 2 days. What is that? About 3.5 inches of rain, and it only penetrated about that far into the soil, which is about 4 inches into the soil, and that's why I had the sprinkler on out here to soften it up even more, because the rain just wasn't even enough to loosen up the soil, that far down into the surface. It's ridiculous. And what happens, this area is built on a floodplain, and it's all clay from the river right to the mountains, and it's got beautiful sandy loam soil on top of it, and this soil here is even better because I've got these beautiful eucalypts and a she oak over there, a grevillea there, all sorts of trees. Look at this dog. He put his ball in there and now he's gone after it. Look at him. So it's nice soil, and I'll be keeping it and using it in the garden. What was I saying? It's a clay pan right from the river to the mountains, with soil on top of it, and the soil's built up over hundreds of thousands of years, so it hasn't had water through here probably for thousands, even more. And as the river digs deeper and deeper and deeper into the soil, it floods less through here because all the water gets taken away by the river. Now, 2,000 or 3,000 years ago, that wouldn't have been the case. So I'm getting down to clay here. I'm going to dig down and get my clay, and when it rains here, it actually doesn't take very much at all to saturate that distance down to the clay, and the water doesn't go any further, and so it all comes to the surface and floods across, but not river flood, just surface water, and that disappears as soon as the rain stops. So we just keep going. Try and expose some of that clay.